The delegate from Hampton, Delegate Cordoza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a virus has returned to America and entered our system. It lay dormant, gathering its strength and waiting for the right moment. The virus has many names, but the effect is always the same: division. Despite all of our hard work, it seems that we are a nation more divided than ever. The internet has given people who are driven by hate and prejudice a platform that permeates into all of our lives. Pundits fully submerged in a cloud of their own tribalism come out only to poison the atmosphere. Dinners are filled with tension as family members feud with each other about who they voted for in the last election and what people they associate with. We have begun to fear our ability to think differently than our neighbors. They say we have never been as hostile to one another since the eve of another presidential election, when America nearly tore itself apart. Someone can walk down the street of any city in this country and see graffiti on the walls with a message of hate and disunity. It is as if we can sometimes hear the fabric of the great American quilt being torn apart slowly, deliberately, and quietly. There are moments, weak moments, where I feel myself fearing the future. I sometimes worry that those who whisper to dismantle our republic will become louder to match their growing strength. But today, as I look around and see my colleagues in their desks and the citizens in our gallery, I have no such worries. Today marks the third time I have had the distinct honor of celebrating the birth of Dr. King in the People's House of Virginia. And every time I do, I feel the pride of his legacy around me. I feel his guiding hand on our society and in our homes. The ideas that he was murdered for have become the cornerstone of the heart and soul of America. They are now our baseline, the standard on which we judge all things. The same thing happened to Lincoln. So often, the death of a visionary is the last cry of a dying evil. What we are seeing today are the death throes of prejudice. They are sometimes violent, difficult to watch, and even harder to endure. But they will always end with a new dawn, more brilliant than the last, more beautiful than the brothers and sisters that we find in our history books had ever dared to imagine. And what has this dawn illuminated? What do the rays of hope shine into this new year? Black men and women who, as a matter of course, do what was once a mortal sin just a few decades ago. They use their greatest gift that the Lord has bestowed upon his children, the ability to think, to use what God has put in our heads, that great computer that has taken us through mountains, across oceans, into the sky and space beyond. We know this to be true. We know this to be true simply because we look around and find ourselves in a moment of history, a moment that can only come as a result of the intellectual power of people freed from the shackles of the old world and come to see the powers and limitlessness of their own humanity. And what a rare thing it is, often so small and incremental that it can only be seen from a distance, as if to truly appreciate what we have accomplished, we have to pause and step out of our corporeal bodies and see where they are and compare it to the tracks behind us, as if We can only see the significance of the moment after it has slipped away, and we long for days since past. But today, as we usher in a new legislative session, there is no need. The progress is apparent. In our government, we see a reflection of our society. My district has its first black representative. Chesapeake elected its first woman representative in the Senate. And Virginia, who is more diverse and beautiful than ever, sees its first black speaker, first black lieutenant governor, first Hispanic attorney general, and a governor who will shake the hand of anyone he meets with the same vigor and good humor as the person before. But what is most stunning is that these people, who have shattered barriers few thought possible, do so while disagreeing with each other. Our strength has always been our willingness to engage in the noble conflict of ideas. Through it, we have become more united than ever, and the next generation will only take it further. The virus of division always thinks it's found a new way to destroy us. Every time we face it, we prove it wrong. This is a moment our Reverend would be proud of. To everyone in this chamber, thank you for sharing it with me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.